I'm really angry right now. Sisters, I really have to remind you all. The new marriage law for 2025 is out.
And many of the changes in these articles have truly caught those gold diggers off guard.
Wow.
For women, this means that marriage is no longer an insurance box.
It's time for us to rely on ourselves. If women are still stuck at home doing all the housework, who will appreciate you?
Gold
Women know
diggers.
that they cannot rely on their partner for material support. Now, women don't necessarily need to get married to have children, as technology is advancing so rapidly. Marriage has never been purely for love.
Welcome back to More to Life. Now, guys, let's get into this video today. This video here is what's happening in China. You guys already know in China, there are a lot of modern women. It's kind of just like the West. And what's happening is they're panicking because just like marriage laws are going to be passed in the West, there's marriage laws being passed in China. And there was just a law passed on the 1st of February. And they're going crazy. Let's get right into it. All right, guys. Now, today's video is going to be from China Unvarnished.
还以为找个有钱的女朋友可以少奋斗20年，现在天塌了。新婚姻法解释2月1号开始正式执行。女朋友再有钱也是她的了，跟我没关系。唉，全网的男人都在笑啊，就我一个人在角落里面偷偷的哭泣。
Brothers, everyone pay attention. Starting from February 1st, the Judicial Interpretation 2 of the Marriage and Family chapter of the Civil Code has officially been implemented. This judicial interpretation consists of 21 articles, and many of the changes in these articles have truly caught those gold diggers off guard, especially the one about adding a spouse's name to the property title after marriage, which has undergone a huge transformation. You see, in the past, if the name of a spouse was added to the property title, many people would think that this meant half of the house was freely given to the other party as a gift. But now, this operation of adding a name to the property title has become completely different. The property that belonged to one person before marriage, even after adding the spouse's name, still belongs to the original owner. What's even more surprising is that in the past...
So before, when they got divorced, they had to sell their home. Wow. Sounds like something that happens in the U.S., right?
If the parents paid for the house for their child and the names of both spouses were on the property title, the general public would think that the house was a gift from the parents to the couple. But now the situation has changed. The new rule clearly states that if the parents pay for the house will belong to the side of the parent who paid. In other words, the property belongs to whoever paid for it. There will now be more explicit legal protection for this, and understanding this will make you realize that this new regulation tends to protect the party with stronger economic ability, in other words, the side with more financial resources. For women, this means that marriage is no longer an insurance box. In the past, many women thought that after marriage, if their name was added to the property title, it was a kind of security from their husband. But now, if a woman does not have economic ability when it comes to divorce, there's not much she can take with her. In fact, she might end up with nothing. For men, the impact of this change is even bigger. Although it may seem like the threshold for marriage has lowered, in reality, women will not only look at your personal qualities but will also care more about how much money and assets you can provide for them. Especially in future marriages, just showing the property title and your bank account balance won't be enough to impress a woman. In future marriages, a woman's expectations will not only be for the house and car, but she may even directly ask the man to give her cash. Whether women will continue to agree with the traditional marriage model of man buys house, woman buys car, might become a question worth thinking about.
That's wow. You see how the same thing we're going through over here, they're going through there. And let's hear her speak, because I'm sure, I don't know what she's going to say, actually.
I'm really angry right now. Sisters, I really have to remind you all. The new marriage law for 2025 is out, and we can't keep sacrificing ourselves for that little family anymore.
Welcome to the new world.
Stop just staying at home, raising the kids, and doing all the chores every day.
Wow.
Oh my God, you're stuck at home like a maid, cleaning floors, wiping surfaces, and you don't even have the time to wash your face or put on makeup. You're working so hard, but the man still thinks you haven't contributed anything. This is just ridiculous. Today, a lot of men left comments on my post. Reading those disgusting comments from men really made me mad. I really don't want to discuss it with them anymore. Some men don't even come and leave comments for me. Let me read some of these comments to you. It all started when I said men should buy a house for the girl. As a result, a lot of men left sarcastic comments. Some said, then you women should buy your own house. Why wait for the man to buy it for you?
She's finally getting a taste of her own medicine.
Others said, most women just want to freeload a house from men. Some even said, these women don't want to buy a house for themselves. They just like it when men buy it for them. That's what makes them feel comfortable.
They flipping. It sounds like a TikTok chat, right? Oh man.
There was even someone who said, in the past, women could get a share of the property during a divorce, so women who don't have a house now have to buy one themselves. And one man said, why didn't your dad give you his house when you got married? Now, no one's property is so easy to divide. One man said, only what you work hard for is truly reliable. For this comment, I gave it a like because I agree. And there was even a woman who commented, a house is only valuable when it's your own. Women shouldn't make excuses for their desires. When I saw that this was a comment from a woman, I honestly felt a little heartbroken. Please, don't misinterpret me. What I meant to say is, without a house, a woman feels like she has no home. I am not saying you should just depend on a man. What I want to express is that women should have economic independence in marriage, not give up on their goals to rely on men. The reason I made this comment is that during this Chinese New Year holiday, many people went back home. You know what? Some girls who married far away or have bad relationships with their families, when they go back home, they are completely ignored. They feel like outsiders, treated like flies, constantly being chased around. It feels like they're going through a trial. The new year, which should be a time for warmth and reunion, becomes a frustrating and depressing time for them. This is why I said, men should buy a house for the girl. I didn't expect so many men to leave comments. And especially, this woman left a comment saying, don't make excuses for your desire.
So, but you said the same thing. Men should buy a house for a girl. If a man buys a house for them to both live in, that's fine because now it won't be your house after.
I really want to ask, is having desires really a bad thing? Desires aren't inherently bad. The key is to fulfill them yourself, not rely on others. I want to emphasize that girls aren't looking to depend on men, but to achieve independence through their own efforts. To the sister who left that comment, do you really understand what I'm trying to say? Now that the new marriage law has been enacted, it's time for us to rely on ourselves. If women are still stuck at home doing all the housework, who will appreciate you? I ask you, who will appreciate you? To summarize, these comments made me realize one thing. Most men, at least 95% of them, think women ask for a house from men just to take their property. They think women want to get something for nothing, to take their wealth. But I want to ask in return, where did 98% of the men get their houses from? Isn't it mostly from their parents' support before marriage? How can you be so self-righteous when your house was bought with your parents' money?
This is wild. This sounds just like the U.S., that feminist talk. Because she's talking being a feminist now. I can provide my own house. Women, provide your own houses. Work hard. Work long hours. Do what you need to do for yourself.
You say women always ask for a dowry, at least 80,000 yuan. Does that small amount really break you? Look, there are luxury cars all over the streets now, and you can't even afford this small dowry money. What are you men even worth? What confidence do you have to say these things to women?
The number of people who might get married in the future will likely continue to decrease.
Why?
And the reason behind this is quite simple. The implementation of the new marriage law, which essentially
Gold
clarifies
diggers.
the ownership of assets. In simple terms, who owns what money, who owns what house, and who owns what property from their parents. Even today, some women still ask whether having their partner transfer the title of a house or car to their name before marriage would help them avoid issues with property division. In fact, this approach is also ineffective.
All you care about is money.
Court determines property ownership based on the bank transaction records, meaning whoever paid for the house or car owns it, and transferring the title will not change this fact. The essence of marriage, to some extent, is actually an exchange of interests between the man and the woman. It may sound exaggerated, but in many cases, it is indeed driven by considerations of wealth, social status, and so on. The new marriage law makes the division of property before and after marriage so clear that some women are now reconsidering whether to get married at all. After all, the motives for marriage are multifaceted. Some might say it's for love, but in reality, for many, it's more about material interests. And now that the new marriage law has closed off the financial aspect, some people might feel that it's more trouble-free to not get married at all.
Wow.
If this trend truly takes off, the marriage rate might decrease, and the divorce rate could drop as well. Marriage has never been purely for love. It is a complex consideration involving each—
This is bad. Like, marriage has never been purely for love. So women out there are marrying guys for come-ups. It's wild. And because I see the African guys are out there thriving, and the guys there don't get any love, just like in the West. But you saying it, you're saying they don't marry purely for love. We know that. We know that's true with all women. They marry up and they date up. But still, this is wild. You're threatening, because you're threatening it. That's what you're doing. You don't realize it. But you saying, "Oh, this is how women are gonna." Same thing they do in the West. Oh, 4B movement. This is what she's saying. 4B movement.
economics, safety, social recognition, and even biological instincts. You can ask your friends or relatives around you whether many people get married purely for love, or whether they have weighed multiple factors before making the decision.
婚姻法保护婚前财产，不分男女，大家都是公平的。
One of the biggest highlights of the new marriage law is the clear protection of premarital property, which no longer differentiates between men and women. Both men and women now have equal rights to their property, and no one can easily acquire the other party's assets through marriage. Many people might find this difficult to understand, and the introduction of this new law has sparked a lot of debate. After I expressed my support for the new marriage law, some people became emotionally agitated and sent me some unspeakably harsh and offensive words. I won't list the specific content here, but it was truly shocking. I boldly guess that some people are so angry because they believe the introduction of the new marriage law means she or he will lose the opportunity to obtain the other party's premarital property through marriage. In fact, those who think the new marriage law is unfair are either harboring bad intentions or are selfish. Here, I want to clarify that I am not promoting inequality between men and women, nor do I intend to create gender conflict. My viewpoint is based on the principle of private property, where both men and women should enjoy equal rights. From now on, property belongs to the individual, while the uterus and children are jointly owned by both spouses. This means that in the past, some people might have tried to marry to achieve the goal of marrying well means making a lot of money. But this route has now been legally closed. If a name is added to a house after marriage, it does not automatically count as marital property. Even if the house is a gift from parents, it only belongs to their own child, not to both spouses as joint property. Regarding the division of property, the new law also provides more protection for the economically stronger party, whether male or female. From a certain perspective, this is fair. After the implementation of the new marriage law, those who once tried to gain benefits from marriage, especially the gold diggers and phoenix men, no longer have any opportunities. The law has clearly stated that no one can hope to quickly get rich through marriage. And no—
I guess in the beginning, that wasn't a joke. That guy was a Phoenix man. I didn't know about that. Phoenix man. I guess a male gold digger. Wow.
No one can marry, quickly divorce, and then claim a portion of the assets. This change, to some extent, reflects the law's support for fairness. However, from a different angle, from the perspective of women, those who have truly spent a lot of time and energy caring for the family and raising children seem not to have received enough emotional compensation. The physical costs and damages women endure during childbirth are irreversible, such as stretch marks, postpartum incontinence, and other issues, things that no money can compensate for. Not to mention that women usually bear—
At least demand a push gift, not a house. Not a house and other property, because I'm sure he's buying multiple things for the marriage. Oh, give me that too. Life insurance. Oh, give me that. He got money in his life insurance. I want that. Like, come on now. And she's cold. Look at her eyes. She's cold. You heard what she said earlier.
More of the household chores
Evil.
and childcare responsibilities. So how should these contributions be fairly rewarded? Some might ask, does this mean women should abandon their plans to get married and have children? Of course not.
What I want to say further is that although the new marriage law superficially lowers the threshold for men to get married, it actually raises the standard for marriage. Now, women no longer rely on a house or dowry to choose a marriage partner, so their standards for choosing a man have become more stringent. In the past, women would marry anyone, even if the man was not particularly suitable. Now, women know that they cannot rely on their partner for material support, so what do they seek in a man? It's simple. They are now looking for whether the man is good-looking, whether he is taller than 1.8 meters, and whether he has enough intelligence, humor, emotional value, and can provide emotional
Let me look that up. Let me see 1.8 meters. Hold on 1 second, y'all. 1 second. Let me check this out. 1.8 meters in feet. At least it's 5'9", right? They're okay. Regular height, 5'9" is that's 2 inches taller than me, but at least it's 5'9", not 6 feet. Okay, I give you that one. I do.
Security and social resources. Even more importantly, does he have a good body? Does he have better genes to give their children a better future? For ordinary men, these standards are now higher than ever before. For those men without resources or clear personal value, the marriage threshold is certainly higher. In the future, it won't be enough to just have a car and a house to marry a wife. Especially for those men who rely on their parents' support or borrow money to buy a car or house. It seems that it will be much more difficult for men to marry a high-quality woman. More importantly, men may also raise their standards when choosing a spouse. From my perspective, the new marriage law has actually promoted the growth of women and forced them to become more independent. The old idea that he is responsible for making money and supporting the family, and I am responsible for being beautiful, has gradually become outdated, because the more dependent you are, the greater the risk. Today, whether to marry or have children is a personal choice for both men and women, and everyone should make decisions based on their own situation without interference from others. Women should not focus all their attention on a man's car, house, and money. What is more important is that women should emphasize self-worth and work towards improving their economic independence and personal abilities. This way, in future marriages, women will have more say, even possibly absolute say. This is what modern women should focus on.
Yesterday, a sister messaged me saying that the new judicial interpretation of the marriage law clearly favors men, especially in terms of post-marriage property ownership. She feels that the law is emphasizing men's interests in this regard. However, why do I believe that this is not biased toward any one party? As I've mentioned before, when a woman chooses to marry a man, it's usually for a certain purpose. If she cannot rely on financial support, then she must rely on genes. And when it comes to genetic selection, this directly affects the opportunities most men have in the marriage market. Because, in marriage, genes are quite simple. The most obvious factors are height, appearance, and education level. From the perspective of genetic inheritance, men who are lacking in height, appearance, or education are more likely to use financial resources as a means of competing for women. But if this advantage is weakened, and the division of property before marriage becomes very clear, many men may find their competitiveness in the marriage market significantly reduced. After all, even with material support, many men still struggle to find the right wife. Without material support, how many women would be willing to choose them? Now, women don't necessarily need to get married to have children, as technology is advancing so rapidly. Techniques such as artificial insemination are very mature, and women can choose men with excellent genes, high education, and outstanding appearance to conceive their children. This way, they can avoid unnecessary constraints in marriage while ensuring better genetics for their children. Additionally, even if a woman chooses to have children as a single mother, she can still maintain economic independence and personal autonomy. This way, if issues arise in her marriage, such as the husband's infidelity or
what they're talking about, I'm not surprised because China has billions of people. I think 1 to 2 billion, something like that. So, and the fact that they're pretty much the old world, right? They were around before USA. This makes a lot of sense. It does.
or family conflicts, she won't face being left with nothing. Imagine, if a woman relies on the financial support of her husband, in his family, she might not have a voice. The The property might not belong to her, and she could even be kicked out at any time. In such a situation, the woman would be in a very vulnerable position. Here's some advice for all my sisters. Whether you get married or not, you must find a way to own a house that belongs to you, no matter how small. Even a tiny one-bedroom apartment is a strong backup plan. Especially when facing risks in future marriages, owning a house that belongs to you means you can handle any unexpected situation independently. Sisters, do you understand?
The new marriage law in China officially took effect on February 1st. Whether you accept it or not, this is an established fact. I believe the next crucial step is to push those women who were previously hesitant about marriage, or even unwilling to get married, to face workplace competition head-on, competing with men on the same track.
Doing all the cleaning.
This transformation will gradually become a widely accepted societal concept through the efforts of an entire generation. Why has this situation emerged? The reason is simple. Since marriage no longer provides substantial financial security for women, they must now rely on their own efforts, just like men,
That's happy
to
film, I
establish
can't
themselves
lie.
in society
He's doing a
and
little cooking,
earn their
though.
own wealth. All material resources, including real estate and savings, must be acquired by women themselves. Only in this way can they ensure that these assets belong entirely to them, without being affected by marriage.
I love that what he was doing. Like, say I'm in a situation, my wife's pregnant, just had a baby. I'm doing the same thing. Call me a softie. I'm gonna make sure I take care of my wife.
Are coveted by others. At the same time, the new marriage law also makes it difficult for men to target the wealth of financially successful women, as the law now clearly protects the assets women accumulate before marriage. If this trend continues, in about one generation, society's views on marriage, property ownership, and women's financial independence will likely undergo a complete transformation. People will come to recognize the importance of real estate and personal assets accumulated before marriage. The outdated mindset of relying on marriage to make money will be completely overturned. In fact, there might be a well-planned strategy behind all of this, steering society toward a more equitable and independent future. What are your thoughts on China's new marriage law? Feel free to share your opinions in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support means a lot to us.
That's pretty much the end of the video, but that's wild. The way they were talking was like, it's the man's house. The man's family bought the house. And when one lady said, oh, you know, that's why women would get married, it's like, I'm sitting there with images of the West and the same videos you see in the West. They don't make videos. I don't know if they make videos like that. They do have their own platforms out there, but I'm sure it's nothing like TikTok. But they're talking, as you see there, the women are talking, and they're relaying this information somewhere. It may be on one of those platforms. But yeah, guys, it's wild. And modern women are everywhere. They're in every country. Even as a passport, bro, if you go out to the Philippines or Thailand or any other place, Brazil, you gotta be on the lookout for them. Africa, modern women are everywhere. You just have to spot them and keep moving along. Even China as well. There's good women there too. There's good women everywhere. But yeah, guys, thank y'all for watching this video. That video took me by surprise. It did because, you know, you don't see this all the time. Talks of Chinese modern women saying, men, I deserve the house, and women are gonna stop getting married to men for this reason. Like, it's crazy. And when we can go have our own babies without men, it's like just like the Western woman, feminism, it's all there. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out. See you next video.